Old man Silas lived at the very edge of the village, where the cobblestones gave way to whispering meadows and the shadow of the ancient willow tree stretched long towards twilight. His cottage, small and perpetually dusted with silver moonlight, held the quiet weight of countless years. Silas himself moved slowly, his hands trembling slightly, and his eyes, once sharp as stars, now often held a gentle, bewildered fog. He remembered the names of wildflowers and the song of the first spring robin. But some memories, precious ones, slipped through his grasp like grains of sand. Most precious of all, it seemed, was the lullaby he used to sing, a melody woven from moonlight and whispered secrets, known only to him and the moon. His granddaughter, Elara, with hair like spun moonlight and eyes full of tender concern, visited him every evening, sensing the quiet sorrow beneath his fragile smiles. One particularly still evening, as fireflies began their soft, blinking dance outside the window, Elara found her grandfather gazing out at the rising moon, its pale face huge and luminous in the indigo sky. A single tear traced a path down his weathered cheek. "Granda?" she whispered, placing a small hand over his larger, trembling one. "What troubles you?" He turned to her, his eyes searching hers, filled with a profound, aching loss. "Oh, little star," he sighed, his voice rough with unshed tears. "I've lost it." The moon's song, the special one. Just for her I sang it every night, for so long now the words, the tune, they hide from me in the shadows. His despair hung heavy in the quiet room, a tangible thing. Elara felt a fierce determination ignite within her small chest, seeing her strong, kind grandfather so diminished by this forgotten melody was unbearable. "Well, find it again, Granda," she declared, squeezing his hand together. That very night, she began her quest. She searched through dusty, leather-bound books filled with tales of constellations and forgotten gods. She sat by his rocking chair for hours, humming fragments of tunes, hoping a familiar note would spark recognition. In his eyes, she whispered made-up words about silver seas and pearl boats sailing the night sky, watching his face intently for any flicker of remembrance. But the fog in his eyes remained. The melody stubbornly silent. Weeks drifted by like clouds across the moon, though the song remained elusive. A beautiful change unfolded. Their shared quest became a cherished ritual. Elara would arrive as dusk painted the sky, and together they would sit on his worn porch bench, wrapped in a shared quilt. They wouldn't speak much, simply watching the stars emerge one by one, diamond bright against the deepening velvet. Silas would point out constellations with a trembling finger, sharing the stories etched in their patterns. Tales of heroes, bears, and celestial hunters. Elara would rest her head against his shoulder, listening to the cadence of his voice, the rhythm of his breath, finding a deep, wordless comfort in his presence. Beneath the vast, silent sky, the forgotten lullaby became the quiet space between them, filled with love. One crisp autumn night, the air sharp with the scent of fallen leaves, the moon hung full and impossibly bright, bathing the world in a pure, liquid silver. Its light streamed through the cottage window, pooling on the floor like spilled milk. Elara, feeling a strange pull, led her grandfather outside. They stood in the small garden, utterly bathed in the moon's radiant glow. The silence was profound, almost sacred. Elara looked up at the luminous disk, feeling a warmth spread through her, a connection deeper than words. Without conscious thought, driven by pure love and the intense moonlight, she opened her mouth. Not her usual hums or questions, but a soft, pure note emerged, clear and true as a bell. It was a single note, hanging in the cool air. Then another followed, sweet and unfamiliar, yet feeling ancient. Then another, a simple, hauntingly beautiful melody began to flow from Elara. As naturally as breathing, it spoke of quiet dreams, of gentle tides, of the soft sigh of the earth turning in its sleep, of love that endured beyond memory. She didn't know the words her grandfather had lost. This was a new song, born from her own heart, her own deep longing to heal his sorrow. She sang to the moon, and the moon seemed to listen, its light intensifying, wrapping them both in a luminous embrace. Silas stood utterly still, tears now flowing freely down his face, but they were tears of awe, of recognition, not of the notes, but of the pure, undiluted love pouring from his granddaughter. As the last, lingering note faded into the stillness, something miraculous happened. Silas didn't suddenly remember his old lullaby. The fog didn't lift from his eyes with sudden clarity. Instead, a profound peace settled over him. Deeper than any memory, he looked down at Elara. Her small face turned up to the moon. Illuminated by its glow, he saw not the forgotten song, but the living, breathing embodiment of its spirit. Love, comfort, the enduring connection between them. Shining brighter than any star, he gently squeezed her hand. A silent understanding passing between them. The old lullaby was gone, carried away on the river of time. But in its place, born from Elara's pure heart under the watchful moon, a new comfort had taken root. Strong and true, it was a different melody, but it held the same ancient magic, the same promise of peace. Beneath the silent, silver sky they stood together, grandfather and granddaughter, wrapped in moonlight and the new gentle song of belonging, knowing that while memories might fade, love sang forever.